Shinga, Shinga, Shinga. The name kept ringing in his head as he sat down with a glass of wine in his hand in the palace. His mind darting back to the years, to the beautiful girl he had met 15 years ago. Bensu was a prince, a noble prince in the land of Igidi. He was the only son and child of the king and queen of Igidi kingdom. He was adventurous in nature and often took actions not worthy of a prince. A kind of youthful exuberance. He would disguise himself as a commoner, but his handsomeness often brought out the limelight in him. He would travel to far-off kingdoms where he had friends to enjoy himself. He always told them never to disclose whom he was and his identity. Thus, his personality was never known to the inhabitants of the kingdoms he visited. He was very happy at shelving the royal accolades that would have otherwise been bestowed upon him in those journeys. In the process, he made genuine friends and loyal ones at that. His adventurous visit to Shinga's kingdom was the most memorable of them all. It was over 15 years now that he visited there and met the beautiful Shinga, yet it was just like yesterday. He had gone out of his way to sleep with her and found her a virgin and the most beautiful and adorable girl he had ever met. Unfortunately, she was below his class, and his parents would never have agreed to a royal marriage between them, no matter how beautiful she was. Bensu was now married and had stopped those gallivanting and spontaneous adventures he used to live. Unfortunately, also, his wife had not been able to give birth to any child for him. Being the only son and child of the Igidi kingdom, that's the king and queen, he had married early to have children that would inherit and continue the lineage of the Igidi kingdom. And there he was without any child from the marriage. We must do something about this, he said aloud to himself, as the name Shinga kept running through his brain. Maybe if I had married that beautiful girl Shinga without thinking about status, I would have gotten many children by now, he said, slowly sipping his drink. Little did Prince Bensu know that he had committed a havoc, an atrocity that was against the laws of the land and was causing the whole problems affecting his not having children in his marriage. The heir of the throne of Igidi kingdom must not be placed on the ground until he was 6 months old. The heir of the kingdom must not be thrown away no matter what, except during a warfare by the opposing kingdom. Added to all that was the curse laid down by the king in Shinga's kingdom. All these were the laws that Prince Bensu had committed against the land. Prince Bensu was now the king of Igidi kingdom. His father had left the throne and crowned him the king, a young king. The old king had tried all he could to find solution to the childlessness of his son's wife, but he had been told that his son had committed atrocity and sacrilege against the land, which was in turn affecting him. It was said that until it was rectified and the land appeased, he will never have children. His parents had asked him severally what he had done that was against the laws of the land. He had not been able to tell them or remember anything at all. It was later that he remembered Shinga and thought maybe his affair with Shinga must have caused something or what, and he told his parents about it. But he didn't know if that was actually the cause of his problem, then you have to send out men to make inquiries about her, his father reasoned with him, so that we'll find out if there is any way you have gone against the laws of nature. Yes, Father, Bensu, the new king, replied, I'll dispatch my men to my best friend in the kingdom first thing tomorrow morning. I pray he's still alive. It's been several years since I saw him last. Please do, my son. I hope you know how important children are to the throne, his father added skeptically. Yes, father, he replied, as they planned what to do and parted ways. The next morning, King Bensu sent his men to inquire about his friends in Shinga's kingdom, so that from there he would know what to do next. As soon as the men arrived at the kingdom, they met a young man and his mother returning from the farm and inquired about Bensu's friend, Anamali. The woman described where they would be able to find Anamali's present home. And while they were talking, the king's men, Bensu's men, noticed the young man standing beside the woman. They were shocked as the young man had a semblance. Young man of 14 years had a semblance to their king. The boy noticed their eyes on him and greeted them. The voice alone was exactly that of King Bensu. They stared at the boy. The woman, noticing it all, quickly finished talking and hurried her son homeward. It was little Bensu, son of Shinga and Bensu the king, now 14 years of age. The king's men were surprised and quickly followed the direction the woman had directed them. So just musing around why the resemblance. It was during that same visit and day that different things were happening in the kingdom. Shinga could not bear it any longer. She went to her mother and told her that she was tired of it all and ready to own up to her mistakes. No matter what it cost her, she must have her child back because she was not childless. Mother, she exclaimed sadly, I can understand now that in this life, there are things that are more important than material position and possessions of life. You are right, my daughter, her mother replied. The son I suffered to carry in my womb for 9 months is more important to me than the throne, mother, she stated. Moreover, I cannot allow myself to be faced by a cause of barrenness, because I did a mistake that I was too young and blinded by materialism to have the sense of discernment. But my daughter, that will be a great letdown to our family, her mother complained. Who cares, mother? Who cares? Shinga said repeatedly, looking at her mother. I have already lost everything, so I might as well go for what I have. With that, the two men concluded on what to do. Shinga's mother went to see the old king, the next morning. She told him that the woman who had thrown away her baby 14 years ago was ready to confess now because the cause that the king had placed was really affecting her. The old king was surprised at that and was happy that at last the person was ready to own up. So he fixed that very evening for the woman to come out and own up and tell the world what she had done, and then the curse will be reversed and lifted. That evening, everyone, including the old king and new king, were surprised that the queen of the kingdom was the one that had actually committed the crime and atrocity as she came out. What a shame. Shinga was driven out of the palace, and although the curse was lifted, never allowed to the throne anymore. the shameless queen, they booed at her. Little boy Bensu refused to accept her as his mother. He stuck to the only mother and father he knew, the mother that had picked him up from the bush path and nurtured him to life. Otherwise, he would have been killed and eaten up by wild animals from the forest. King Bensu's men experienced everything, saw everything, heard everything, as Shinga confessed, and called. Hurriedly they went back home. They heard how she called their king as the father of the baby she had thrown away 14 years ago. The next morning, the men hurried back to their kingdom to tell the king what they had seen and heard. The king and his family were abashed, shocked at what they were hearing. "Quickly, my son," the old queen said happily, "let's go and get my grandson," her eyes watering. "Wait, her husband," the old king said slowly. "It's not as easy as you think, my wife." The old king proceeded to explain things to them, and they sent a message to the king of Shinga's kingdom. Everything demanded tradition to avoid calamity. It was agreed that King Bensu and his family were to go to the kingdom for a proper talk in order to avoid war between the two kingdoms. On the stipulated date, the king of Bensu and his family arrived at the king's palace. The boy Bensu and his foster parents were also present. The matter was presided upon, and at last, the king divorced Shinga. King Bensu's son was given to him after he had been fined heavily, and the dowry of Shinga was paid by him. Shinga became a queen again, this time after she had owned up to her crimes, and the curse was lifted by the old king. The boy Bensu refused to let go of his foster parents, and they had to follow him to live in the palace in the kingdom of Igidi. Shinga and her son Prince Bensu were never close because the boy refused to forgive her for what she had done. She became the second queen in the kingdom and gave birth to several other children. That's the end of the story. Please click the like button, share and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.